theory of socialism.
Yeah.
We should be back up.
But the reason...
We're going to actually get into Che here in a minute. Because Che was a vicious, brutal bastard.
Well, I think we should also describe why it says socialism is for figs. It deals with La Higuera, the city, which means literally translated in Spanish to the fig tree.
Yeah, so I think, and if you clear that up, people won't think what it really says. Okay, so we are back up. We should be back up on a delay, but anyway, if we're not,
I see it.
Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's something with the Wi-Fi, but we're trying to do the best we can. Just stick with us. So anyway, you're watching Session Stream Live from Shakers. We're talking about right now. We've gone through our topics. We're now to socialism. So Cody was talking about certain things, and I'm going to let him kind of when he comes back. We'll talk about it some more. But socialism, the pretty side of it, right? The Bernie Sanders side of things, because Bernie Sanders is
democratic,
unabashedly. Yeah, democratic socialist, and that's his new thing they're using now to kind of
Been doing
flavor
that for
it.
years, though.
Well,
and he'll correct you in the interview as well.
Yeah, they will, because AOC is very good at that. She's very good, and I will give her credit, man. She is on point on the message. She's not varying the message at all. And for once, they're being honest. I will give this to Bernie and AOC and others like her. They are straight up telling you exactly what they're going to do. They're going to tax people through the ass. They're going to start programs that require certain things to happen.
And how much is this going to cost? Ask Bernie. There's no way of telling how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Also, not wrong.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
That's not wrong. And you ask AOC, and her thing was, well, does it really matter? You just do it. The cost doesn't matter. You just do it.
That's true, but that's what the government does all the time. So why is it a shock?
They don't do it all the time because
yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They don't care about how much anything costs. They're
Well,
just like, we'll find the money.
They do because
Let's
they
go
want to
ahead
control.
Let's go ahead and make like 800 F-35s. Not that we haven't ever gotten to a dogfight war since World War II, but hey, whatever.
They're not making 800 F-35.
No.
We should, though.
It's a ridiculous amount of
We
money.
should have a 350 ship Navy.
Fuck yeah.
But anyway, so let's break down socialism. So socialism is a concept or an ideology where you and I work together, right?
As a community.
As a community. So we live in a community, and I don't have something, right? Maybe I need food, or I don't have as much as you.
No.
So
the community would own all the resources. That's the point of socialism, is that everybody has a stake in everything.
So who makes the decision on who gets stuff?
You all do. It's a community.
Really? How does that work?
It doesn't.
Exactly.
It almost sounds democratic to an extent.
Democratic. It almost sounds communistic, almost.
A little bit.
Okay, so here's the thing. What's supposed to happen?
Well, see, the difference between communism and socialism is that the government makes the choice in communism, whereas in socialism, it's everybody has an equal say.
But see, herein lies the rub. The government, who is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people,
Yeah, they're not.
In a socialist society, is completely not that.
Well, it's the problem comes down to human error.
I get it.
Everybody's going to be self-interested.
But you can't take human error out of it.
You can't
That's
have
the problem.
socialism without a
so
dictator.
it doesn't work. That's what I'm saying. It's a nice ideology.
So
But it doesn't work.
what he just said is exactly why Che Guevara
I'm sorry, I didn't
and
hear what you
Stalin and Pol Pot and anybody else in this world.
This is the fine line between communism and socialism, and you can't have socialism without a dictator.
You have to have one head of state, like in Russia, that Putin's trying to bring back the USSR. He's trying to get all of them back together. That's what he's doing right now.
Fuck all that.
Well, I know, and nobody's going to let it happen. But the problem is he has been given so much power in USSR. I mean, we talked about it last show. He literally stepped down from presidency and became the prime minister because his term was up, and gave it to Medvedev, and then they switched back so he could run again because the consecutive term thing. But so here's my thing. So socialism is supposed to be, in the grand scheme of it, it's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be we're all in a community together, right? And then we all put all of our stuff together, right? And we pile it in. So if you want to get real about it, say we all have pens, right? Mm-hmm. But your pen barely writes, yours sucks, you have a pencil. Mm-hmm. Well, everybody should have a pen, right? So we all throw our shit in the middle. And then everybody gets to go get a part of it. But here's the problem. Human nature will not allow us to share properly because somebody thinks they worked harder than somebody else. I think, well, my pen's better than yours because I worked this much time or did this much stuff, so you shouldn't get to use my pen. But I'll tell you what, I'll let you borrow it. Then you're like, what do you mean borrow it? We're supposed to have it. So that's where you have humans involved, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
if you take socialism, it's that utopian dream, right? That's the AOC thing, the Bernie Sanders thing, where they have this weird thought of what I believe that I think communism started as was a means to an end for a better society. If you ask communists from Che Guevara to Stalin to
when you
to
look
Mussolini,
at original
Karl
Marxists,
Karl Marx. Well, he was
Marxism, and
yeah, but he was
he was built like militant.
Well, but he was he was a militant socialist.
Yes.
So it became Marxism because he took socialism and basically what he did was he went from Protestant and Baptist to Pentecostal. If you want to look at it in a religious stance.
Yeah, I mean,
sense.
Yeah.
That analogy is good.
and that's what Che tried to do.
Yeah,
Well,
it
see,
failed.
Che, now see, here's the thing. Let's just talk about Che for a minute,
Yeah.
since you got him on the shirt, because he was a true socialist. So Che was a poet, and he was a farmer. He was basically a farmhand, right? He was a smart guy. He lived in a small village.
There's no denying his intelligence.
He was very what's the word? Magnetic.
Charismatic.
Charismatic.
That motherfucker rolled it.
So
true 20.
he had a small group of people that kind of joined him for conversation and stuff, and he used that to grow. So what he did was he didn't like the Mexican government. He didn't like how the Mexican government was taking taxes from people and then not giving it out fairly, in his words. So what he did was he started fighting against the Mexican government, and in his utopia was all the people together, right? It was for the people, power to the people.
Yep.
There's where Shea's doing this, right?
Except some people.
Except some people that he didn't think were worthy. So what happened was Shea would go town to town, and not only would he rape and pillage villages that didn't want to fall in line with socialism or what he wanted, which was basically communism, he would basically just level the town.
Yeah.
Take all their resources.
And take everything. It's like, if you don't want to do it, and this is why socialism is shitty.
Is this
Because
Redbone?
This is why socialism is shitty, and this is what you need to understand about it is. It starts as this dream, right? It starts as this kumbaya.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. And the reason I say this is you can argue with me or not agree with me all you want. All you got to do is look at history. All you got to do is look at Venezuela right now. But it starts as this amazing idea. And I will admit, I think it's a great concept. I think it's amazing if we can all work together and lift each other up, and I think we do that sometimes. But on the scale that Bernie Sanders
You want to
and
know
AOC,
when we do that? When tragedy hits.
We only do it when tragedy hits, right?
Only when aliens come to take our shit will we fucking stand up and work together to have a better future.
All right,
for all
Babylon Earth.
mankind.
So that's a good point.
New World Order will begin.
Let me say something real quick before we
Haven't
move
you
on.
watched
Yeah, I
X-Files?
think
Don't you know what the fucking main
Right.
plot of the show is? It's that.
I think the biggest fallacy with socialism isn't even that the pin analogy you made. I don't think it's the people that make it fail. I think it's the fact that you're putting all your sources into one pot that the government controls, and they get to decide what the bare minimum is that everybody should get, and they're all corrupt. So you just end up with this corrupt government that's keeping all these resources for themselves, and you have this super elite in your country, and they're trickling down minuscule amounts to the rest of them.
Basically,
That's the
get
basic
rid
way.
of the government.
Yes.
And let's all go back to city-states, and we can all be independent.
Okay, so now that goes to,
council of people.
What Danny Stewart was saying, which is anarchy, which there's no government at all. It's basically individual governance of yourself. I mean, look, I'm all like,
Paper, it's fantastic, but
look,
it's
you
the
know
work.
my dream. I want to go to Montana and have a hydroponic pot farm in a greenhouse and die on a big prairie, like getting high and eating good food and just go off in the field at the foot of a stream. But it's possible for individuals
I
to
love
do that
your
kind of
end
stuff.
game. I really
know, right?
do.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
It's a great fantasy that I have.
Get behind that.
Yeah, but the problem is, like you said, I think you summed it up really good, Cody, is each of us wants the best for other people. There's not a single, look, you, none of us, I don't care how mean or even Trump, wants people to have good things.
Sure.
It's in our human nature for most part. Even some of the hardest people in the world want you to have good things. And like, I want Cody to succeed and do as much as you can. The problem therein lies, what socialism does is it takes away that good-natured spirit between us. And it goes, you know what? That's cool that you guys like each other and you want to help, but you need to be told what is going to happen. And so like you said, because of so much corruption, because of so much spoils, and because they can manipulate, because in socialism you've got this and you've got this. There's none of this. There's no balance. And because of that, the higher ups always make a decision for the people at the bottom. And like you said, it's trickle down. They give you a little bit here and there. The reason that I favor capitalism over socialism is because I believe, yes, capitalism allows people to get stupid freaking rich. But I also have that opportunity. I have an opportunity to get stupid freaking rich. I'm not saying that I'll get it.
You create something that you think is going to sell. You are in complete in responsibility. The consequences of everything are on you. If you end up getting rich from this idea, awesome, you got rich. But if you are in this for the long road, if you go broke, you take all that down with you.
And if you go broke, it should be on you too.
Exactly.
But in socialism, if you go broke, it goes to everyone. And that's my thing. And this is what I want everybody to understand. Look, you can vote for who you want to vote for in the election, right? That's what's great about an election. You can, I'm not even going to talk about the impeachment. You can leave all that alone. He's not going to be impeached. It doesn't matter. The problem, this is all political folly for us to keep entertained. It's a big Jerry Springer show. My thing is,
with no tits.
With none of that. You can.
But we do have midget wrestling coming.
We do have midget wrestling.
So there will be fights.
There will be fights. But you can vote for who you want to vote for. And I'm not going to defriend you or unfriend you if you vote for somebody that I don't agree with. But I will tell you this, if I know you voted for Bernie Sanders and shit starts hitting the fan and we get in a situation where I think it could go with socialism, like Venezuela, imagine this for a second. And if you're not following the news or you just shut it off, let me tell you about Venezuela, right? Venezuela used to be the 5th or 6th most powerful, and
it was the largest economy in South America for a long time.
In South America for a long time. Do you know why? Because they were capitalists. They believed that individuals had a right to make money, and they encouraged that right. They were using all their natural resources properly. They were trading on the open markets. Everything was great. Then Maduro, who was a general, a military leader, came along and said, you know what? I want more power. So how do I get more power? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll make the poor people think the rich people are evil. And what I'll do is I'll tell them, look, I know how I can get you more money. I'm going to fight for the people like Che Guevara did. I'm going to go town to town. And you're going to find people. That's like Hitler did. Hitler found millions of Germans who, if you sat down with a German back in those days and you said, let's run down what Hitler's saying here, shall we? And you sat in their living room and you actually said, look, without any preconceived notions or judgment, just listen to what I have to say. This is what Hitler's saying to you. And break it down, and you actually got to reason with them, they would have been like, oh my God, what am I doing? But they didn't get that chance because they were swept up in that overall, like this
wave.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And that's what socialism is. Socialism is a movement. It's an ideology.
It's what's happening right now in our country.
You've got a large group of under 25-year-old people that are going to be voting in the next election, that are going to make a decision to change the world, change this country permanently. And what I want you to realize is that what they don't know what they're doing. And they can vote for who they want to. That's the beauty of this country. But what they're voting for is never worked one time. And you can bring up any example you want, Norway, Sweden, and those people will tell you to stop using us as an example. But you can bring up any example, and yes, like Cody said, there are parts of our economy and our country that have some socialist values. Schools, roads, police, fire, those are socialistic values.
Social security.
Retirement.
Actually, I looked it up. It actually is considered a socialist.
It is,
100%.
and it's exactly the example because the government is killing it and only giving it out how they want to give it. You're never going to get your Social Security because they keep raising the retirement age to screw with you on it. But you can.
Well, it's because they know they don't have enough coming in.
Well, no, they've already freaking stripped it.
And spent it on other
I
shit.
actually have a super radical theory. If these kids get what they want, we will be in war. And it will not be a civil war. No, it will not be a civil war.
Well,
I think it will be
I think it'll be a variation of it.
I think it will be the last time that we will be attacked on our own land.
I actually feel the opposite. I feel like you're much more likely to have war with capitalism than you are with socialism. It's one of the things that fuels capitalism more than anything else.
You're more likely in capitalism to have war against an international force, but with socialism, it's civil. Yeah. And that's the problem is if you look,
it's class warfare.
It is class warfare. And once people
if
realize,
we end in a civil war, America stands a chance to lose its ground as America. I
it's
believe at
all-
that
it's
moment.
Yeah, China will come in and buy everything.
No, it's not even going to be. It's not even going to be money.
No.
We will have foreigners on our land
Yeah.
attacking us if this happens.
Yeah, because we'll be weakened from within, and we know what happens. Lincoln talked about it. Washington talked about it. The great leaders of our country, whatever you think about them socially or value-wise, they had some great things they had to say. The Declaration of Independence is one of the greatest documents ever written by man, and it basically gives rights to everybody. And it says these things shall not be infringed upon. This is your right. Second Amendment, First Amendment, Third, Fourth, the right to privacy, the right to no search and seizure. All of these things are in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. What we have to realize is if we become socialist, they will rewrite that entire document.
I don't know about all that.
They have to,
I don't know about all that.
because if not, they're violating the law.
They have no choice.
They have no choice. They have to rewrite. They have to amend our Constitution to fit their. Yes, they do.
I don't think so.
Because in socialism, you have no right to privacy.
Well, you also have to think this is one.
That's fascism.
No, it's socialism. In socialism, if you don't give your shit up like you're supposed to, they will come get it. Then it becomes communism. You can't have communism without the start of socialism. Socialism starts
That's
communism.
fucking Che.
also
It's
have to
true.
think about the
Everywhere
fact
starts
that-
socialist. Some of them just go right into fascism and right into communism. But socialism starts it all. It starts with that group think. Lets everybody put it together, and then when they realize that doesn't work, then someone goes, well, then I'm going to take your stuff.
And that's exactly what Che did. He started as a socialist, ended as a communist. You know,
Because you had to.
yeah.
If you don't get what you want by telling people, hey, this is the best thing, if they go, no, it's not, you're like, oh, yeah, it is. Punch, take your stuff.
Like, this is one of my favorite shirts I own. Just because, like, the
And
mean.
clear it up what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
has.
all right.
It's not what people think it is.
So-
It's a fig leaf. It's figs.
It's figs. Where your mind takes
It's true, it is figs.
That's
No,
on you.
I know what it is.
All right.
Now explain what.
Now,
explain
the
why.
reason why is because there's a town called La Higuera. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But
No, that's where he got his name.
yeah, and it's
Because I don't think Che
translation.
Guevara was his real name. I think that was a moniker.
Yeah. So, and its literal translation means the fig tree, and that's where he would hang people.
Hey, put your mic in the middle, because you're looking at the camera. There you go. There you go.
And that's where he would hang people who didn't agree with him or who were gay. I mean, Che was nothing more than a fucking rabid homophobe and a murderer.
He was a huge homophobe.
Substantial.
Huge. He wrote. There are writings
Yes.
out there from Che Guevara, and of course they've been passed down through the generations. But he was anti-homosexual.
Yep.
Big anti-homosexual. He thought it was a sin against man and God, so he would string you up,
Yeah.
kill you. We talk about this a lot, and they talk about it in society. No one wants to talk about the ugly side of religion and faith, but Che also used faith as a tool of destruction.
And I mean, the thing is, it's not just Che. We've done it in our entire civilizations.
We have.
Look at the Inquisition.
Look at Pol Pot.
Yeah.
Look at Hitler. Look at anybody that's tried to fundamentally change the country. The one thing I'll say about Obama, for all of his
There's another socialist thing that America adopted, the Obamacare.
well, that's the thing is,
Well,
you can say
The Affordable Health Care Act was a joke.
it was, but it was enacted incorrectly.
Yes.
There's a way you can do that more on a bigger scale.
Sure.
Actually, believe this or not, nobody wants to admit this and nobody wants to say it, but Trump actually has a really good medical plan that he wants to gut the insurance companies.
Yeah, fuck them.
What's what I'm saying?
Fuck the insurance
Yeah,
companies.
that's what he's wanting.
Fuck
He wa-
them
Also,
hard.
fuck the hospitals for having that charge master.
Right.
Well, and he wants.
Not only that, but the fact that the hospitals' prices that they set are based off of the insurance prices,
Exactly.
not the not having insurance.
And the
prices.
hospitals blame them, and the insurance companies blame the
the
hospitals,
hospital.
and it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
In the meantime,
fuck
you
them
and I
both.
are getting screwed.
Yep.
How much did your last treatment cost you?
And you pay out of pocket, don't you?
Yeah.
It had to be.
Well, and like, here's the thing. I have insurance, and I
But it doesn't cover it.
still have what it doesn't cover is still astronomical.
Well, it's
for
ridiculous.
seven fucking pills, man. It's $1,500 and some change.
Jesus Christ, that's like my rent.
It's just stupid, man. You got to have that every.
That's how we
What is that?
fucking
Every
live.
month? Every month?
I got to pay that twice a month.
Fuck, dude, that's most people's salary.
And that's the
It
thing.
is my salary
That's
a
the
month.
thing. That's why. Look.
So you have to decide: do you want an
Yeah.
apartment?
Or you want
Do you want food? Or you want to live?
That's not
But
fair.
that's the thing is, here's the thing, is part of our health plan in this country. We have a great healthcare system. Our doctors and nurses are trying to do their job. This is not actually not reflective. I think some doctors make too much money, but
Sure.
regardless of that, okay, the market sets that. But I think if you ask an ER nurse, they're some of the best people in the world. They work their butts off for not near enough money, and they work 12-hour shifts dealing with some of the worst stuff, the most emotionally damaging stuff you could deal with.
Those are the people that are in it because they care.
They care, legitimately care. I'm not saying doctors don't,
Right.
but I've met some really shitty doctors. But I've never met a nurse that didn't. I excuse this. If a nurse is in a bad mood, I'll far more excuse that than I will a doctor.
Yep.
Because nurses deal with all of the shit. And I've said this before when I've been in the ER or talked to a nurse. They do everything. Doctors come in and go blah 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 blah, blah and they leave. Because it's the way it is.
because the nurse already fucking
The
did
nurses did everything. So now you've got, and I'm a big proponent of this, and Trump's actually pushing this too, is licensed practical nurses and what's the other one? Physician's assistants. Soon we'll be doing surgery. Soon we'll be making recommendations for medication. Those are the ones that have in touch with the patients. So we're talking about socialism is what happens in socialism with medical care, and here's the problem. Everything is rationed. Everything is rationed in socialism because, like you said, it's given out to each person.
Yeah, everybody's equal.
Everybody's supposed to be equal, right? But
So
it's
you're gonna have
not. It's
waiting
not
lists
possible
and
to
all
be
this other
equal,
shit.
Right.
because you're going to have somebody within that socialistic society that said, "Sure, I'll put in," and they're like, "Okay, you need to give this much." Wait a minute, why do I have to give that much? Well, because you make this much. Well, that sucks. That's not fair. He puts in like $2. Well, that's just how it works. You got to put in your fair share, and then.
Are you talking about like tax brackets?
I'm just to socialism in general. See, that's the problem. See, in socialism, the tax code is it matters not.
They already have programs like that anyway, though. You can go to clinics and stuff like that where they're on sliding scales and they'll base how much you make off of your
Do you
income.
want to go to those clinics?
Yeah, I do go to those clinics. I
What
don't make a lot of
clinic?
money.
I also have to go to those clinics. Literally,
fucking
Cape
Crossrails. That's where I go to for most of my medical needs.
Yeah, but that's a good clinic.
But it's
telling
still,
you- but
but
you're
I'm
talking
still on
about
a
in
sliding
some
scale. Like they take my
I don't know.
W or my.
I get that, but in some towns, you'll have a 5-hour wait for just a doctor at a clinic. You go to some of these bigger cities, some of these other towns that have very liberal policies in charge of how they do things, and you'll sit in there with a sick kid with 105 temperature in a waiting room with a bunch of other sick kids with 105 temperature because they have 1 or 2 doctors that are willing to work for $60,000 a year.
Well, look at fucking Canada. Canada's a prime example. It doesn't.
Wait. Canada's not the bastion of socialism.
You already know my opinion on Canada.
Canada's not the place we want
Fuck
to be
them
like.
and fuck the French.
Oh, the French. Did you see the Did you see the firefighters and police fighting the other day? That was freaking hilarious.
Yes.
They're out there supposed to be working together because of all the riots that are still going on. And every time Macron,
I already knew.
every time Macron gives a speech and admonishes Trump or the U.S., I go, shut up and go take care of your country, dude.
Right?
You got people invest on your streets beating up your cops. Stop it. So, first of all, don't tell us, I don't want any other country telling us how to do our country. First, fix your country. There's no country perfect. Look, do I think there's some countries that do it better than us? There might be. But they're not even half our size. Our economy is too far big. That's one thing. We talk about fundamentally change this country. You have to do something like Obamacare. You have to completely strip something and redo it, like overnight. And that's what they did. Overnight, they got into a small room. They're like, yes, enact it. Here
Well,
it
it
is.
definitely wasn't overnight. It took a while.
The actual approval was actually one night for
to
5
implement,
hours.
It took like fucking years, man.
Oh,
to do
it's
Obamacare.
because it rolled out improperly.
Yeah.
Because it was not workable. It was stupid. There's a
Also,
way.
we had a bunch of insurance companies who wouldn't fucking do it.
No, because it gutted what they had.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna gut your fucking profit that you've been
Well-
literally bleeding people dry for
But
years.
see,
on.
you don't have to
Fuck
you don't have to do socialism to do that. What you have to do is you have to create competition. You have to make it more fair for everyone to compete, and then you need to bring up co-ops like patient
Okay.
co-ops. Patient co-ops are
Hold
super
on.
important.
Hold on. Let's say in encouraging competition, you've got a gas station on the corner here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then you've got another guy who's going to say, okay, that gas station, he's had his prices at fucking $4 because he's right off the interstate. People are going to pay it. So I'm going to put a gas station right across the street. And
At
then I'm going to set my
$3.75.
prices a little lower.
Right.
Just a little bit.
That's capitalism.
That's capitalism,
Yeah.
100%. But then with the insurance companies, they're going to do, it's the exact opposite. I'm going to put my shit over here and I'm going to raise my price. His is a little bit cheaper, but I'm going to raise it. And then he just raised his price. I can raise my price. Well, let me go ahead and do that.
So
it becomes out of fucking control.
Right, and you're right. So here's the problem, okay?
And it happened. Look at us.
Lobbyists for healthcare companies go to Washington and they sit in big rooms with a bunch of congressmen and senators and they say, here's what we're going to do. Now, the congressmen and senators want their constituents to get health care.
But they also want to get reelected.
Well, hold on. They want them to get health care, right? I don't think there's a single congressman or senator that doesn't want some kid to get health care. I don't think that's true. I think basic human nature. Now, they may not act like they care, but I think there are more people in Congress and Senate that actually want their kids. Yeah, I think for the most part they do. I think they get greedy and they act stupid.
I think it's kind of idealistic, but
well, it is. But so is socialism. I mean, talking about. But anyway, So my whole thing with this is I think it's all a game they play with our money, and we're caught in the middle of it because we have no say-so or authority, and that's where my idea for patient co-ops come in. Patient co-ops are the solution, and I'm gonna tell you why. Us four decide we don't want medical insurance anymore through our employer. We don't want it through the government. We want to insure ourselves. So we go to a clinic or a hospital, and we go to their admin, and we go, hey, we're going to negotiate our freaking prices. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, we are. There's about 3,000 of us. So do you want to lose those people?
We have something like that in Cape, by the way.
We do.
What is it?
It's called Healthcare 180.
Yeah.
No. That's not the same. It's not the same. I was in 180. It's not the same. Also, you don't get the same care. It's not with a great doctor. It's not. No, it's not.
Is that Acasa's?
No, it's sold to somebody.
I was gonna say he had something similar where it was like you pay like $100 and something a month.
There's EBOMD.
Is that what it was?
That's what it is.
Okay.
So the way those work, those are it's like a co-op. It's where doctors have, where these companies, where basically businessmen go to these doctors and say, hey, listen, we have this idea for independent health care. But what this is to reinforce and to back up your insurance because it doesn't cover surgeries. It doesn't cover major things. It's good for day-to-day health care. It's good for, you got a sick kid with a fever, give him some penicillin. It's good for that stuff. So I will say it's an option, but it's $80 to $90 a month for a family.
It's still cheaper.
But you still have to have regular insurance to do the other stuff. That's the problem. So you'll be on self-pay. That's the problem with the 180 healthcare and the EBOMD is when they can't service you, when you got to get a certain kind of x-ray or test, they send you to the hospital anyway. Now, they don't cover that. That's the problem because the hospitals have negotiated deals with insurance companies. So that's the problem. What I'm talking about is power to the people. What I'm talking about is Brandon, me, and you, we all go to administrate in a hospital, and we go in and we get 5,000 people to sign on to our patient co-op plan, and we go to him and they say, look, 2,000 of these patients are yours right now. You're in your records, and they come to you for care. If you want them to stay with you, you'll do what we're going to tell you, which is these are the prices we're going to pay for these services.
It's a lot of money lost.
Well, but that's the only way it's going to fix itself. That's the only way we're going to change it, is if we take back the control. The problem is we have said for years, we want to be, we've been paying these taxes for years, right? And we've let the government tell us this is what we're going to do with this and that's what we're going to do with this. So there's a form of socialism there where they basically are saying you don't get to say what you're going to do with your money. It's like Social Security. You have to get to a certain age to get it.
See, I would be down for this. I like this.
No, I do too.
I like that.
So I think it's something.
I think people are just afraid of the term socialism because what you just described is a good socialist way to handle that.
It's not the term; it's what we've seen through history.
What we've seen through history.
But it's also we're talking about all governments, and the government side of socialism is fucking terrible.
It's horrible.
The people side of socialism can be awesome. You just can't. If let somebody else decide what. Yeah, exactly.
Look, if you started a community, right, and you all made an agreement with each other that look, okay, it's my land, so everybody comes here, I'm welcoming everybody in. But that's the extent of my power. It's my land. As long as we all fit within this and we're all taking care of each other, it's cool. Then everybody says, okay, here's my house, here's my house, here's my money, and then we all sit down and go, okay, we're going to keep this in one big bank account. No one's going to get more than anybody else. I'm not going to take more because it's my land. You're not going to take more because you can make wheels. You're not going to take more because you can fix engines. Everyone's going to be like, okay, each month, how much does it take to live? Okay, on this farm, it takes $600 to live. You get 600, you get 600, you get 600. That's how it's supposed to work. And then everybody's like, okay, cool. But the problem is, like you said, with governments and with throughout history, people see this big pile of money and they go, you know, my friend who is putting my son into school and paying for this and buying this big tank, I'm going to make sure he gets more of the money. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure that his company, his factory gets the big contract from the government, and then the rest of the people can screw off.
It's not even always that. Sometimes it's just everybody puts in 600 and I'm going to divvy it out. And then everybody gets 400 and he keeps the rest of the 200 apart from himself.
Well, that's true too. Like, they keep it for the betterment of the group. And that's my thing is, if you truly have a co-op, like farmers have co-ops, right? Yeah. And they run the co-ops. You'll have a management at the co-op to make sure things get paid. Sure. But a farmers co-op is a prime example, right?
Yeah, and to shop at the co-op, you have to put into the co-op.
Exactly. And everything has a price on it. Everybody pays the same price. And then farmers, the co-op works like this. Everybody doesn't know. Basically, a group of farmers get together and say, okay, we're going to make sure we all have food for our families and we have crops to do, and if we're low on crops, we help each other. So basically, they all go to the co-op and they dump their grain in there, and then a portion of the grain gets peeled off for the co-op to run, and then they get their pesticides, they get all this other stuff. Everybody works together, right? They get to sell their grain on the open market. The co-op uses their co-op bargaining power with the government, and they say, okay, you're going to pay this much for corn. And then they do the trading on the market and all that, so it's more fair. That's why co-ops are still successful today, because farmers have done it with an agreement with each other. Like we're talking, like Cody said, we're all sitting here talking about it, and we all agree that's how we're going to do it. The problem is somebody in that mix, one of us in socialism would be like, yeah, Cody, let's do this, and then I go to you and go, you know what, fuck Cody. Let's do this. Cody's going to put in 600 next month. Look, you take 3, I'll take 3, and we'll just tell him that we had to use it for this. The roads over here need fixed, so we had to take more of your money. And he's like, wait a minute.
$200 to get fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to budget this much, but we had this happen. Then Cody's like, wait a minute, that's not fair. And we're like, well, too freaking bad. You don't like it, you got to fight with both of us. Okay, screw it. All right, whatever. We'll get you back next month. Then we go to him, we take his for him, and then he's broke. And it just is constant back and forth.
So how would you fix it if you could?
How would you do everything in
you this remove country, the human element.
You remove
so you have an AI run it.
Well, okay, let's.
You Thanos snapped the fuck out of it.
Well, no, that's true. Let's talk about that. So we are now. Our lives are all technology based, right? This is the way things are, especially in this country. There's two forms of thought. There's two themes of thought. One is let's get away from technology, go back to how it all started, or let's go more technological and let technology guide us. I think we're too late to go.
That's capitalism. Technology is a byproduct of capitalism.
Right.
You always want things to be better. You always want things to be more profitable than they were.
I think we're too far along on the spectrum of capitalism success for this country to get off of it. Right. I think the Amish and certain people's societies have figured out a way to do it differently. But even then, there's a governing body and they all work together. But I think if you look at the Amish, they have a co-op in their community, right? The Amish all work together. When there's a barn to be built, all the men build the barn. If you don't build the barn, you are shunned. So you build the barn for Jethro, whatever his name is, Jebediah. Yeah, for Jebediah. You build the barn for him, right?
I like how that's the second
and then at lunch, on the day you're building the barn, every lunch, the food's made, everybody sits down together, they pray, they say, and they eat, right? There's no outside influence. No one's taking more money from anybody else. You have one elder of the community that basically guides the morals and the ethics of the community, and it's supposed to be based on biblical principles.
And I think that's what holds their society together more than anything else.
And
because they have better ethics and better morals than most people do. They don't care if somebody's not putting as much work because they care about them and they're willing to do the extra for that person.
Exactly right.
That's what's different.
That's what's different. Now, the Amish also have made a commitment to each other that we don't need these material goods. Right. We don't need internet. We don't need TVs. We don't need this stuff.
Believe it or not, a lot of them do have TVs these days for things like weather and things like that to better their quality of life.
I'm talking about like there's
everybody on my grandmother's side up is Amish. So I have a lot of
Mennonites are more modern, and there are some Amish communities now that are more modern. But if you're talking about traditional Amish, no TVs, no technology. What I'm saying is each community sits down and has a conversation with each other and says, "Hey, Brandon, I know you're good at this, right? You're good at engineering and building stuff. So how about you kind of help us organize? We're going to build this barn and this house and this house. And these two guys go, yeah, okay, let's do that. So you design stuff, we get together and we build it. Cody's really good at plumbing. So Cody's like, okay, I'll do the plumbing, and then we all help Cody. He's really good at howling at the moon and killing sheep. He's like, all right, you're going to, no, sorry.
He's going to be our hunter.
He's going to be our werewolf.
Get some meat for us.
He's skilled at hunting. I'm great at marketing and talking to people, so I'm the one that settles arguments. If somebody has an argument, I'm the mediator. We sit down and we talk about it. So we each have our little assignment in life.
I want to live in this world.
Well, I'm saying, if we go to Armageddon, to anarchy, that's what's going to happen. We're all going to form communities, and if you ever watch...
talking about how life was fucking 500 years ago.
If you ever watch Walking Dead or any of the utopian movies that are out, society has been banished. You look at Hunger Games, any of those things. Yeah, there's all the privileged have now fallen away because everybody knew that who was taking the money and who was damaging things, and the people rose up and said no more, and they formed a new society. And some lived in caves, some lived in the woods, some lived in the water. But basically, Waterworld.
Oh, Waterworld.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie. Sorry.
Horrible fucking movie.
But that's.
Come on,
I thought it was actually pretty cool.
Get out of here.
It's pretty cool.
You both are fucking
out of here.
Look, it was terrible.
You're
Like
bad.
the
Go get
acting
a
was
drink.
terrible. The acting was terrible.
Oh, it was garbage.
Dennis Hopper was a one-eyed
Dude,
freaking communist, man.
First off,
How can you
everybody
not like
loves
that?
Dennis Hopper.
It was amazing. It was a great.
I mean,
Good
it
old
was his
Blue
best work.
Velvet.
We all
Like-
sing Super Mario Brothers.
Right?
Did you like Mad Max?
You damn
The
right.
Mel Gibson Mad Max.
Thunderdome, bitch.
What other one
Which
is
one?
there?
There's a new
The Tom Hardy movie.
Oh no, that doesn't exist.
Oh, it does too.
That's probably the best one.
That's a good one.
You
man.
fuck yourself right now.
Watch
Fury Road,
Watch.
man.
No, wait. Watch the interview with the director, the guy who wrote the movie. George, what's his name? Romero.
George
Miller. He actually said it's better.
No,
He
it's
likes
not.
it better. That's what he
No.
said. The creator of it.
Dude, we'll start the Thunderdome right fucking
Dude,
now.
I'm
I'll
telling
take you all.
Tom Hardy, who I
That's the
think
shittiest one.
who I think is amazing actor, Tom Hardy.
It's all downhill after the Goonies.
This
Let's keep
is
going.
the third time you're wrong tonight.
I'm not wrong. I think a lot of people would say that, just like he said. It's a great variation of it, man.
Dude, Fury Road is the only
it
one
was
of them that
really
actually won Oscars.
good, man.
It's not about the Oscar.
It's
Okay,
about it.
so the first Mad Max, right? The first one with Mel Gibson,
Fuck
right?
yeah.
Road
The
Warrior.
Australian Road Warrior, the Australian Outback. There was a lot of community in that movie.
Just walk away.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But there was a lot of community in that, right? The movie is terrible. It's shot terrible. It's terrible acting. The script is horrendous. But
Outfits are horrendous.
the outfits are. But it was a good redesign of a dystopian like outback lifestyle, right? But in that, you basically took care of yourself. You lived on your own property, and then if somebody came there, you defended it. So what we're talking about here is socialism. Is if people want socialism to work, you have to get away from the financial side of socialism, and you have to get to the ideological side of socialism. The reason socialism is so nasty, and the reason they're saying democratic socialism, is because the people that actually want socialism know how shitty socialism actually is. So they have to put an extra adjective on it to make it look like it's more fair for everybody.
With a country that's as divided as it is on so many topics right now, the idea of socialism and thinking that everybody's going to come together in one ideology is almost impossible to imagine.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
it
The
is.
guy who's the largest supporter of it's never worked a fucking day in his life.
No, he did have a job.
Yeah.
Early in his career, he worked at not a car wash, but some kind of a job like that. He had a job for about 6 months, and then he went into like public service. He started doing like community stuff like Obama did. But he did have a job, but that was been like 40 years ago, so he didn't really work
My
that
statement stands.
All I'm
It's
saying is
true, I
he
mean-
figured a way to save all that money because now he's like a millionaire and shit.
much. Because
Well,
you
obviously
get
that's-
rich in politics.
Yeah, they get paid millions of dollars
Yeah,
to
let
be
me
a
ask-
politic.
Let me just put that out there. Since I have a forum, I'm going to say it. Let me ask all you Bernie supporters out there, does it not bother you that he has 3 houses? Does it not bother you that he's worth $2.8 million?
It bothers me that he has armed security following him.
Yeah, like, does it not bother? Like, when you see that stuff, do you just discount it? Because I'll be honest with you, some things that Trump says bother me, and I'll say it out loud. Some things that he says and do. Sometimes when he goes to his golf course, when I know that we're paying for some of it, it bothers me. But
He wants to tax the filthy rich, and I think as long as he is willing to make that sacrifice himself as well, I will stick by it.
Agreed.
If he's willing to take the same tax cuts on the wealthy that they're taking, and he's willing to go
he
through
wants
that,
to
then
gut big industry. Like with Bernie, there will be no Amazon. He'll break it up.
Good.
No, it's not good, man. You don't understand. That's the thing about capitalism.
It will crush our society.
It will crush our society.
Oh,
that
because you
don't
can't get
understand.
a
no.
shit overnight?
Do you know how many they employ? Do you know how many jobs that Amazon gives people?
I'm not even talking about like the 24-hour shipping.
I'm saying that they should
No.
fucking pay their taxes.
They do.
Well,
They do. Jeff Bezos is one of the most charitable people in the world.
He can be charitable, but he hasn't been paying.
Well, would you
the
rather
tax.
somebody be charitable or give taxes to the government?
I'm saying
At this point, we kind of need it.
we kind of need it.
What, we need taxes?
Yeah.
No,
Because
we
we're
need
all
we need
that.
charity. We
We're
need
cutting funding
people.
on
Taxation is theft.
Yes, it is. Look, I know you've got some libertarian.
I do. I am strong
Say what you
libertarian.
will
I've been
about
learning more about-
taxation is theft, but as Eric so eloquently put it earlier, that taxes are what keep
Fund our programs.
fund all of our programs, education.
Can we not do that ourselves?
Our
But
education's
haven't
down in
been.
the
Can
world.
you
but
trust-
Can
we
you
can't
trust your
because it's
neighbor
against the law
without
for
somebody
us.
telling them to do those things?
That's what I'm saying. It's against the law for us. to do
Domino's
it.
fixes my fucking roads. The school systems itself are going to hell ever since no child left behind. I mean, we no longer give a fuck about education. We find one person in a school that might be smart. We throw all of our chips on them. Everyone else is a fucking athlete.
I mean, there
These
are
are some serious
there are
issues.
points, and that's the thing. We need to take each topic, right? This is the whole reason that I did the show.
Damn it.
You need to take each topic that
I'm
that,
out.
that are critical to the existence of our country, and we can talk about other places, other countries, but right now we need to take care of our country, and that's one thing. I want to be introspective for about 15, 20 years for a while. I want to stop looking at Paris and Canada.
I think
and wanna look at
wholeheartedly
us.
we need to stop. We need to fucking turn our back on the world and fix us.
No. Wait, I'll have to correct you. Don't turn your back on the world.
You can't correct me. It's my fucking thought.
It's a world community. You can't turn your back on the world.
We no longer
I know
need to
what
be
you
the world
mean.
police.
I know. I agree with that. But that doesn't mean turn your back on the world.
I-
We have allies that can't live without us. Like Israel. If we told Israel tomorrow to go screw themselves, they would be
They'd
wiped off.
fucking die.
They'd be done.
They'd all fucking
So
die.
no, we can't turn our back to the world. But I get what you're saying. We
We're
don't need to
giving
be
too much
involved in-
aid.
Right.
We're giving too much military
Right.
support. But let's
Right.
cut the military, but keep that going. That's fine. Come on.
Yeah, that's a good point. They want us to cut our military, but they want to keep giving money to other countries so they can boast of their military.
I mean, we're
So,
still Germany's military. We're still fucking Japan's military. I mean,
Well, that's because they can't have a standing military themselves.
socialism.
thank you,
There
Geneva.
go. Yeah. Well, no, it's true. Think about it. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing you need to realize about socialism is military in socialistic countries. If you look at every military, it's been used against the people. Every time. Every time the military has been used to take from the people and to make them march step in line. And I don't want that's one good thing about our Constitution. Our military by law cannot come after its own citizens.
I have never in my life ever wished on taking on our military, but I swear to God, if it ever comes on homeland military against its people, I'll be the first one leading the fucking army.
Yeah. Well, nobody.
Fucking Swayze, dude.
Well, I'm just saying it's true. Yeah.
That's what our fucking country is based on. The fact that if things aren't going the way we want them, we have the right to fucking revolt. It's an actual right to revolt against the government.
but listen,
Damn right it is.
Let's and here's the thing that I'm trying to say is each topic that we have issues that we don't have a solution for. If we all sit down, right, and say we start tomorrow, we all sit down and talk about education. How do we want to educate our kids? What do we want from our schools? Then we start
Right.
making changes. We start forcing these things to happen. We've got to start our own school. You can get
So
a
be
home.
it.
Well, somebody needs to start a homeschool school.
Yeah.
Where it's a network of moms, and I think they have.
If you can have a network of people teaching the Bible as your history, then you can. It happens though. My cousins were taught that they were homeschooled.
Well, why f that though? I want to hear why.
Well, the problem, and I think it goes towards religion and all this other stuff, is
Right.
that, and again, it comes back to government. It's like, what is teachable? Who's going to sit here and say what you want the kids to learn?
Well, I know, but where do you think our morals and ethics come from?
Well, they come from people coming together and saying,
No,
we
it
probably
started-
shouldn't fuck gotes.
Okay, so
There's a reason why it's one nation under God.
Yeah. So here's my thing.
Shouldn't be.
No, but here's
That's
my
not
thing.
separation of church and
But
state.
before the forefathers, listen, they weren't just talking about a Christian God. They were talking about God.
God.
They were talking about a guiding a guiding principle.
Ideology.
Now, we are formed on Christian principles. That's the forefathers. Most of them went to Protestant Christian churches. But I will say this, when you said F that about religion teaching.
Well, yeah, we don't need it.
Well, no,
I
wait.
think we're at a point where we
No,
know
I
that we all shouldn't
I
kill
think
each
we
other.
need to teach theology. I don't think we need our history based on the Bible.
Right.
No, I don't need it.
And this, like, there's homeschool groups that literally this is what they're taught. My own cousin was taught that, dinosaurs don't exist because it's not in the Bible. It was made up by corporations.
That's dumb.
It
The
is, but that's the thing
dinosaur
is,
skeletons were put there to test our faith.
each person,
Fuck
and
that.
here's the thing, look, what we need to do is separate our governance away from our morals and our ethics, right? When we combine those two, we have problems. That's why there's a separated church
Yeah,
and state.
agreed.
That's important for the individual. So if in his home he wants to teach worship the river, then he gets to teach his kids whatever he wants.
That's my right. True.
But don't expect me to be okay with it
Exactly.
and want me to teach my kids
That's what
worship
I'm
the
saying.
river.
So when you say, well, let's do a co-op and get everybody together, at what point do you say, all right, hey, don't bring your Bible thumping Jesus freak bullshit in here?
Okay, it's only Bible thumping and Jesus freak if you don't agree with it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right.
Where you and I have the same mentality, he might actually,
Right. There's
I
a lot of
support this.
stuff. My understanding of the Christian Bible, the King James version, that it is. There's a lot of great lessons in there for kids to learn.
Oh, sure, I'm sure
right?
there is.
The New Testament has a lot of turn the other cheek and help each other and community. That's all Jesus was. So I want my kids to learn that. You
The
may
Old
not.
Testament,
Those
kill
are-
everyone.
Those are all ideologies that we believe as a people. Why does religion have to be why we learn it?
That's
Well,
exactly
because
my
I
point.
believe Jesus existed and he died for our sins. That's my religion. You don't have to believe that.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can believe
But you
what
can-
you
but
can
you can-
believe what the message is.
But that's what I'm saying. You can take the thoughts and the message and the ideologies that thing's teaching that are good ideologies for
Right.
people to have.
Right.
You don't have to have the
theology.
theology.
No,
You don't have to.
You're
but I want
asking
to.
why is it religion?
Right.
The religion base is because our society has dictated that this book is accurate. Thus, our stories come from the
There's
book,
a lot of historical factors.
and we base our beliefs and morals on it.
And that's the thing this is what I'm talking about. This is why the government doesn't work, because what happens with the government is it's all about money and who can have power and who can do this. If you take individuals like us, right, from different communities, like we talked about Porch Initiative, we talked about communities helping each other get better. If we all sit down like this and today we're going to talk about our faith. All right, Cody, you don't go to church, you don't want to talk about God, then that's fine. Cody's out of that. But we're not going to leave him out of the overall we love you thing, right? We're going to love you no matter what. Zach and I can kind of we'll put Zach in the faith category. Put a heart. Oh, I put a heart. I'm gonna put an arrow through it like a Cupid. And then Brandon's on the fence. Like Brandon's like, okay, I'm okay with some of this.
See,
okay.
I'm an agnostic, so like there might be something out there,
I'm in the
but
exact
I'm not
same
going
boat,
to put a name and a face on it.
Right.
But
I
what
don't
does
think-
it matter if you put a
I
name in the
don't
face?
know. That's my thing.
That's
I don't,
the point.
I don't
Yeah,
know
why
that there's
does
a
it
God,
matter?
but I don't know there's
It
not
shouldn't.
one.
Right. So it doesn't matter. So if I want to teach my kids that, it's fine. You can teach your kids whatever
exactly.
you want. Right.
But what I'm saying, and I think what Cody agrees with, is that keep it out of the school.
Keep it out of school.
Yeah.
If you want to teach, if you want to
if
teach,
you wanna
In a
teach
home,
them that
we were talking about a
religious-
homeschool
yeah.
co-op though.
We're talking about homeschool
Right, so
co-op.
don't bring that in.
Well, no. I think it should be available to people that want it. So what I'm saying is,
So
like,
is it like a back room kind of thing where you like,
no, you
if
don't
you're
hide
going to want
it.
to do
No,
this,
what you do is in a school you have history, right? And we all sit down and agree what history is. We got to teach about Civil War, slavery. We teach about the
We don't
history.
teach about that right now.
We don't. We take
Are
it
you
out.
fucking serious?
they
It's
don't teach
been
the
removed.
Holocaust in schools anymore. They don't
serious,
talk about.
It's
they don't
been
talk about,
removed from history books.
Any of the
my God.
Indians.
Yeah, it's been removed from teaching.
There-
That's why
Were you
there's
about to ask
textbooks-
since when?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, listen.
In like
that's
the last
why, that's
2-3
why we
years.
have kids that are disconnected from the world because they don't understand their history. They don't
That's
understand
so
that they're
fucked
in
up.
socialism. That's why you have.
This is the problem with the whole Confederate situation, man. They threw it all
Right
at.
history.
It's all fucking slavery. That's what it is. Let's remove it.
There are people right
Not the
now.
fact they didn't agree with fucking taxes.
There are people right now that support AOC that are looking at her like she is the one giving them their information about the world. So they're being educated by Bernie Sanders and AOC as this new world. That's the problem, is because we have taken out a general curriculum in civics. We took civics out of school years ago.
There are literally textbooks that say we came to America and the Indians gave us their land.
Yes.
There's
Ridic-
fucking textbooks
No,
teaching
yeah.
Indians.
We stole it from them.
Well,
We gave them small.
Hey,
Okay,
they gave
see,
us
there's the
beats.
thing.
They gave us beats.
well, no, look, there was some bartering and trading going on. There was a group of people that settled that did take advantage of the Indian, but there was a group of people that didn't want to, and they did a co-op with the Indian and said, here, I'm going to share this with you, you share this with me. And they wanted to form a community and get closer and learn about but there was the power hungry and the rich that wanted to wipe out the Indians, right? And so my thing is,
This is just making me want to go. Be
Everything
a teacher.
we know has been fucking eradicated. Do you understand that people can't fucking sign anymore?
yeah, nobody writes
Nobody knows
cursive.
cursive, yeah.
They took cursive out because it was too difficult. And yeah.
The whole point of cursive is to keep your pen on there and not
No,
fucking pick up.
no. The whole point of cursive is to give you an identity. Cursive was all different. Everybody had their own
that's
signature.
true.
Now it's all about the same. So now we print everything.
So like,
Oh,
how do you sign? You sign in cursive, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now kids fucking print their name.
Yeah, it's they literally. I've never. Now my daughters will come home. They'll have their signature because in Jackson, bless their hearts, they're still teaching a little bit about
My high
cursive.
school, not at all.
Shit.
So we'll close it out, but I do want to say this in closing out. Man, this has been an awesome conversation, lively
Absolutely.
conversation. I think it gives a lot of people stuff to think about, and I think people need to talk about. This is the problem is we're not talking about it anymore. Everybody gets their butt hurt about stuff, and they want to go, well, you don't believe the way I
Got
believe.
my ulcers acting
The
up.
way you believe sucks, and I don't agree with you, so F you, and I'm going to go talk to him only, and we're going to stay in our little bubbles, right? I'm going to go watch Fox
fuck all
News,
that.
and someone's going to watch CNN, and we're going to get our news from RT of all places.
Vox.
Vox,
Fucking Vox.
HuffPost, America One,
Fuck
Bloomberg.
America One.
Listen, all corporate media is run by people that want to be rich. And the minute you start thinking that it's not, you're stupid. I'm sorry, you're ignorant and you're stupid. This
I'm
is
not
why.
sorry.
That's why you need to watch stuff like this. Find podcasts. Find media like this where you've got people talking about real issues that you understand. And I think we broke it down good tonight. I really do,
You guys have seen Anchorman 2, right?
Yeah.
You remember how they're making fun of CNN? How
Yeah.
basically it's like news all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole point of that is to say, don't just watch the shit that makes you feel all fuzzy.
Well, no, you need the truth.
You need the truth.
Just like we talked about that tonight. Look, we talked about the travails of. I even said shitty stuff about Trump. We talked about the travails of socialism. We also talked about the positives on what it's supposed to mean.
When I did all my research tonight on socialism, which I mean I already had most of my
Yeah.
shit already figured out, but what I did, I looked up the pros and cons. to
Yeah,
everything.
you want to know
Pros
both
and cons of
sides.
capitalism, pros
Look,
and cons of socialism.
I
like-
can't have a conversation with any of you unless I understand that there's a counterpoint, and that counterpoint needs to be given credence and an ear to listen to. Because if I don't understand where Cody's coming from and why he thinks the way he thinks, then I can never expect him to meet me in the middle. That's the problem. So meet in the middle with people, man. Find that middle ground. And as they sang it, we'll meet in the middle. You start walking your way, I'll start walking mine.
We'll meet
I just
in
have
the
a-
middle.
Neath that
I
old
need to walk
Georgia
right
pine.
now. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. So for my guests, Brandon, Cody, and Zach, I'm Eric, your host. You've been watching Session Stream Live from Shakers Bar Downtown Cape. It is after 10 o'clock. You know where your kids are. We'll see you next week on Thursday, 8 o'clock.
beef. It's what's for dinner.
Street
Beef.
lights are on.
Peace out. Love one another.
See ya.